Hello, bookworms!
Today I'm here with some very special guests. I have Alexa from Alexa Loves Books, got Madeline from Novel Inc., and we've got Jane from It's Jane Lindsay. And today we are doing the BookTube Real Talk tag. I saw this tag on Jess from Peace Love Books' channel, and I really liked it, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to get into discussing some of the things about BookTube that I normally stay out of. It would just be easier to do so with the support of my 3 BookTube best friends. So I also thought it would be interesting too to get perspectives from lots of different people instead of just my perspective. So hopefully you will enjoy this.
I'm ready to spill the tea, guys.
The first question is, what is something that nobody told you about BookTube before you started your channel?
I think the one thing I was never told, although I probably should have known this going into it, is that when you are doing a BookTube channel, there's so much like back stuff that you have to do, like not just the editing, but there's like so you have to set up, you have to like plan your videos, you have to really think about a lot of things that go into it. And for me, I'm like, in my mind, it was just as simple as like having a MacBook, clicking the button, recording it. Hence, don't look at my earlier videos because terrible. But yeah, I think no one really explained how much work went into it. I think it was only when I became friends with Kristen that I sort of understood it better, like how much effort you should put into it to get more out of it. And I think I started enjoying it more once I realized like I could see like the change in that.
This is gonna be my cheesiest answer, but I did not realize that people would be so nice because I started on YouTube as a host on a comic book channel, and being a female talking about comics, people are not nice. So I was like kind of ready for that when I started my own channel. That thankfully has not been the case. Like I'll get a one-off comment here and there, but they're definitely forgettable compared to like how nice people are overall.
Even though I've only been making videos consistently since 2018, so not super long, but I had been watching BookTube since like 2012. So I feel like I like anticipated most things about the platform because I was already familiar with it. But I will say that I didn't realize how much of a time commitment in order to like post consistently and be active and present and responsive to comments and things like that. It's just a matter of like setting aside the time, and I don't think that I expected the amount of time that I would have to set aside every week for BookTube, but I mean, I love it and I'm happy to set aside that time. I just definitely didn't expect for it to be as much of a time commitment as it is.
My answer is just echoing those sentiments in the sense that I had no idea how much time BookTube would take, because in the beginning you just think, oh, you post a video and that's it, but it's really your setup, your editing, cleaning up your room after you finish filming and you've got books everywhere, responding to comments, and actually doing the reading, and just like keeping track of things. But also something that I didn't realize would be such a positive is that the community is a very genuine part of it, and that there are people wanting to interact with you, wanting to befriend you, and obviously it leads to really wonderful friendships that you can form and people just bonding over books. So I thought it would be a really isolating experience, like just me talking about books and like maybe other people would be interested, but the community is such a big part of being on BookTube.
All right, next question. What is your opinion on typical BookTube videos, wrap-ups, TBRs, hauls, etc.?
I really like them. I think that they're classics for a reason. I think that they're very dependable. I know at the end of the month, I can look forward to everyone's wrap-ups. At the beginning of the month, everyone's TBRs. I do still like watching hauls. I know that they're a little controversial in the sense that not everyone sees the value in them. I kind of like them, especially seeing what people are spending their money on. And it's a way to like keep track of maybe books that just aren't on your radar. I do love when people do more creative content, more like focused content like recommendations videos and stuff, but I understand that the videos that are classic for a reason because they work for our community. You kind of have to, like the whole point of BookTube is talking about the books that you've read, so why wouldn't you do wrap-ups and reviews and things like that? I find some of the like really specifically creative videos I don't enjoy watching if they're not a niche interest of mine, but I like those videos that just have the wider appeal that anyone could watch and get something out of.
Yeah, I second what Jane said. I love staple content on BookTube because if I am watching your channel, it's because I like you as a person and I like feel like I click with you as a reader, as a reviewer, as a person. So I'll pretty much watch anything from like the channels that I'm subscribed to. I love stable content because like Jane said, it's dependable. I know that my watch later is gonna be full at the end of every month. It gives you a chance to get to know a booktuber's reading taste really quickly. Things like wrap-ups and like even hauls, though I don't love making them myself. It just gives you a really easy way to like gauge someone's reading taste, especially when you first start watching them, which is I think another valuable thing about that kind of content.
I also agree. I think that wrap-ups are my favorite videos videos for sure,
Me
because
too.
I love seeing what people are actually reading and getting opinions, and there's only like so much time that we have. So to have a trusted opinion telling me to like skip something, I really appreciate that, or telling me that I need to read something right away. I think that's like essentially to me what BookTube is all about. It's about the reading. And then TBRs I also really love, just because then you can see like what someone's most excited about. And as you guys know, I definitely have a book buying addiction. So I do really like hauls because I love seeing if there's like a special edition or like a pretty classic book or something. Like that just is my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything everyone
Yeah.
said. Because, again, like Jane said, they're there for a reason. This is the content that everyone usually has on their channel, and it's usually the ones that you would gravitate towards trying when you're finding a new channel to subscribe to, or like checking out someone new. I think also from like a creator perspective, it also makes things a little easier just to like have these like set things that you can do every month. Like I don't do TBRs because I'm terrible at TBRs, so that's like the one I don't do, but I like watching other people do them sometimes, because then I know what they're excited for in a month, especially if they're the type who, you know, gravitate towards new releases. Then you'll be reminded of stuff that you might not have remembered. And I also love book hauls, even though sometimes they're a pain.
Yeah.
Because they're so long to
Yeah.
film. A pain to film, I should have said. They're so long, but I like watching them for the same reason Kristen does, because I like seeing like pretty editions of things. And like if someone has something pretty that I didn't know about, I will get excited, which is usually what happens when I watch one of Kristen's. And I'm like, oh, need to go get that one. Wrap-ups especially are the most important to me, just because they, like Madeline was saying, you kind of get a little taste of what that person is into when it comes to books, and you can figure out whether or not you guys sort of have aligned tastes or not.
All right, question 3. What is an assumption you had about BookTube before you joined? Was it proven to be correct or not? One of my assumptions was that editing was really hard, and thankfully I was wrong about that. I was really lucky because when I first started BookTube, Andrew edited my videos for me, and then he taught me how to do it, and I was like, wow, this is way easier than I thought that it was.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so intimidated about it before.
My only like assumption, and it has definitely proven to be true, is that this community is like abnormally friendly in the general context of the wider internet, and that has definitely proven true. I feel like as soon as I posted my first video, like I was already like interacting with people, making connections, and yeah, everyone is very open and very friendly as a general rule, which I'm pleasantly surprised that I was correct about that.
That's a good thing to be correct about.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the assumption when I started BookTube is like you want to present your best self, and sometimes if you're watching a lot of other people, you kind of assume that you have to be a certain way and act a certain way, and then I realized like majority of BookTube, really, they're actually who they are in real life, just on camera, and there's no shame in being whoever you are. Like whatever you like, whatever you don't like, no shame in that at all. And I think it took a while for me to get to the point where I was like that, where I was like, I don't care about being like silly or like weird on camera anymore, because I was very self-conscious at the beginning of it because of this assumption like that it wouldn't work for me if I wasn't a certain way. But apparently, like Madeline said, everyone on BookTube is abnormally nice.
The like major assumption that I had beforehand is kind of connected to one of my previous answers, is that like I thought it would be an easy hobby. I thought like, oh, I'll just like film a video, pop it on the internet, no big deal. And then to be like, oh, I actually need to plan a significant amount of time around this, and like editing, getting things together, coming up with ideas consistently. I thought I'd be like, oh, I'll have videos for days, and then it's like, oh crap, well, I need to fill this like this spot in my week, like what am I gonna film? So that was a big assumption that I had, was that it would be easier. And not to say that it's difficult, but it takes more active attention than I think I was expecting, which now I really enjoy. And like BookTube is my favorite thing to devote my time to. I guess I also thought, to maybe slightly contradict yours, is like I thought everyone would be really nice, but I thought that I would immediately make a bunch of friends. And maybe this is also just like my personality, is that I don't like seek out people. And so that was something that I should have been better about, is like me being the one to go to someone else's channel and be like, hey, let's be friends or whatever. I thought that like people would just come to me.
I feel you on that.
And because I found it awkward to like go onto a random person's channel and be like, hey, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
We have things in common. Now that I've like spent more time in the community, I feel more confident in being like, hey, Library of Alexa, I want us to be friends. And now I'm gonna put that on the universe. And so But like when I first started on BookTube, I was like, no, I won't talk to anyone unless they come to me, and then they would decide they want to be friends. And so now I would just say like, just assume that everyone is open to being your friend.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You know the easiest way to do it? It's always like if you know that they want to read something that you also want to read, and then just be
Buddy
like,
read,
let's buddy
yes.
read this
Yeah.
book. Because that's
That's also
usually
true.
how I make friends
Yeah,
on BookTube
truly.
or on Instagram. Anyway, I was saying, I don't even remember how Jane and I became friends, I'll be honest.
I don't either, but
Like,
it
I
just
don't
happened.
remember the origin of
Yeah.
it, but then like before I knew it, like we were actually friends.
Yeah,
I was
one day
like,
it was just
okay.
like, Alexa and I are friends.
Like, we've never read a book together.
Yeah, no.
we
We just immediately bonded. We're just like,
I really honestly don't remember what it was. It just happened.
Yeah.
but it's a beautiful
Like, I
thing.
know Madeline, it was because of her blog.
Yeah.
Because of the Loveathon, and the same thing with Kristen. But Jane, I can't remember. Like,
Alexa was just there.
I know. Jane just appeared in
Yeah.
It's the content from hell. Kidding. I don't know,
Thank you,
actually.
Jace.
That could actually probably
That
be
might be
like the
it.
starting
Wow.
point of it.
Beautiful.
Jace Herondale
Bringing
us
people together. I think we should move on before we go back.
What is something you've done that has actually helped you grow your audience?
I have, I guess, two answers for this. Well, something that I intentionally did, and then something that was unintentional but did contribute. The one thing that I have always kind of prided myself on, I guess I can say I pride myself on this, is that I always want to be honest on my channel. Being genuine is very important to me as a viewer and as a creator. So when I don't like a book, I'm honest about it. I don't think I'm malicious in any way, but I'm not afraid to give a negative opinion or to give an unpopular opinion. And I think that's something that people respond really well to. I think especially in BookTube, you get a lot of people who just want to kind of sugarcoat everything, and that's fine, but I think a lot of people react well to honesty in reviews, and that's a lot of the comments that I get on some of my videos are like, I appreciate the way that you're honest about how you feel about these books, and I think that has contributed to people watching and then staying. And then an unintentional thing is that all of my friends are people who just like have larger followings and are like more well known. Like
for sure.
Kristen, Chelsea, Alexa, and Madeline are like huge into the blogging communities as well, and so it's like they just know more people, and so like through them I know that I have gained a lot of followers because of that. So like, sorry to be a hanger on.
No,
But
you're not.
like,
That's
but
my
it is
Same.
but it is a big thing. Like when we're friends with people who are so
Generous.
well,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah, and like I definitely have benefited from that, not just out of like having their wonderful friendships, but my subscribers as well.
It's a great
Yeah,
side benefit.
Yeah, kind of jumping off what Jane said, I feel like going to in-person book events has helped me
yes,
to like solidify that support system. And like through that, I feel like I have grown because I have people who like support me and who I can bounce things off of and things like that. I think that going to those in-person book events and like making those connections, because that's like how Jane and I became friends. It's how Alexa and I and Chris and I became like actual friends. I think that is something that has really helped, that I didn't expect to have such a like profound impact on my channel.
I don't really know what to say for this one, because I feel like if anything, I've made choices that would like actively not make my channel bigger. Like I tend not to hang out in the crowd of where most people are hanging out, and I think I'm like a little bit older than a lot of other booktubers and have different priorities, and like going to book events, I prefer to like go to get books as opposed to doing photo shoots or things like that. Like, so that's why I feel like I have made like those kinds of decisions where if it's between like waiting in line to get a book or going to be in photos, I choose to wait in line to get the book. And then also just like channel stuff, like I think I just post what I like. Like,
Same.
my anime wrap-ups don't get that many views, but I love anime, so I'm gonna keep doing them. So I don't really have an answer. I feel like I've done the opposite.
But I do want to say, as someone who started out as a viewer of Kristen's channel before we became friends, I think part of what like drew me to subscribe to you is that like you just came across so genuine in your content, and you were like excited about the books you talked about, and you just like put out what I thought and I still think is like high quality content, in that, you know, your haul videos, there's a lot of books in there, but you like give the time to talk about each of them. You seem very excited. You're very honest about like, this is why I'm looking forward to this book. And I just felt like when I was watching your videos, like this is a person I could be friends with. And that's what is my number one thing if I want to subscribe to a person, is like, do I like them as a person?
Yeah,
That's so
for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like I'm blushing.
I don't know. I think you guys pretty much covered it. I will say that for me, it's probably the consistency, because at the very beginning, I wasn't very consistent. Like, I wouldn't. Sometimes I would post and then be like 3 months and then post again. And even then, it was like all over the place too. The content wasn't even the exact same thing. I think it's helped because after I became friends with Kristen in real life, that's when I started getting a little bit more consistent with posting. And then eventually, because Mackie joined in and he was helping me with it, it got even more consistent. I think that's one thing that helped. And then the other thing is sort of what Kristen said, really. It's like we tend to post about what we want to post, like what we're excited about. And that obviously a lot of the time that includes books, because that is something I get excited about. But now, like, sometimes we'll just talk about random things that have nothing to do with books, and it's fine. Like, we enjoy it.
What is a common mistake you see new booktubers making, or one that you made?
Assuming you need, like, badass equipment just to do it. Because you don't.
For me, this can be summed up in one word, and that word is thumbnails.
I was bad at that.
Same.
My OG thumbnails are awful, and I feel like it takes 5 minutes to watch a tutorial on how to make a better thumbnail. So just save yourself the trouble and watch that video and spend 5 minutes of your life doing that, because everything will be better.
For mine, it is, first of all, that you don't need to have like fancy equipment or whatever. I still to this day film on my iPhone. I think the bigger advice that I would want to give out is that you don't need to pretend to be like other people that you're watching. I think that authenticity is always what I come back to as like my number one thing about being on the internet, is that like you can tell when someone is putting on an act so that they seem like a bigger booktuber, or that they fit this kind of like personality mold that they think you need to have to be a part of the community. I mean, if you watch my videos, like I don't typically like yell and like go crazy or whatever, things like that, even though that is sometimes like a popular trend on people's videos. And I think that when you are forcing yourself to act that way, it really comes across, and that will work more to your detriment. People don't want to watch someone who comes across as being fake.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was gonna say that too. I think if you are trying to force quirkiness, it just is annoying. Like, I usually can't watch things like that. I think of it like, actually, like Jane said earlier, so the people that I subscribe to are people that I would want to be friends with. And if somebody was acting like that in a room that I was in with them, I would definitely leave.
Yes. Yeah.
It just wouldn't work for me.
Right.
Who is it? Or is it the question?
It is.
Time.
All right, guys. Here we go. What are your thoughts on working with publishers and sponsorships?
Let's do ours really quick.
I know, I was gonna say, let's
so we can
quickly go
through it.
through this.
Yeah. So to preface, like Jane, Alexa, and I are coming at this from like the periphery,
Yes,
like an
very
outside
periphery.
perspective. Yeah, I don't think any of us have ever done a paid promotion, at least on YouTube. But we all do get arcs and things like that.
That's where we're coming from.
Yeah.
My first thing is that like you always have to disclose. Not only is it a legality issue, but you should always be honest with your audience about when you have received things, when you've been paid to do things. I think that doing paid promotions is legit. Like, good for you, get your money, you earn it. Like, BookTube and the book bloggers do so much work for free that I think it is absolutely right that they be paid to do these paid promotions and
Whoa, that was loud.
That was very
rude.
Clearly not a fan of that.
They disagree, that's fine. We absolutely should be paid to do work, and so I believe that sponsorships are like legit and everything. My thing as a viewer is that the content you create as a sponsorship and as a paid promotion should always feel, once again, keyword, authentic to your channel and to your personality. If you are someone who reads 99% contemporary and suddenly you bust out a paid promotion video about your favorite high fantasy novels, I don't believe you. And so it's things like that. It's like it should feel organic to what you would produce normally on your channel, or incorporated into a video or content that you would create normally and just add this part in. I think that's totally fine. I think that when it seems very obviously like, I've been paid to say this, that is a little irksome to me, and I don't want to watch that, and I don't want to like support that behavior. Also, like, a paid review is always a no-no for me. Like, you can't buy my opinion, and you should be able to buy yours either.
I think from a viewership perspective, the channels that I'm subscribed to those people because I trust them and I trust their judgment, not only in the books that they're reading, but the people that I watch regularly know that they wouldn't take a sponsorship that they didn't feel was genuine or authentic. So, I mean, I have no problem with it because as a viewer, I just trust the people that I watch, and I trust them to make the right judgment call as far as sponsorships go.
I basically agree. It really all just boils down to, is this an authentic fit for you? Is this something you would actually do? Like, whether or not you were getting paid to talk about this book or this product or whatever it is it something you would actually buy? Like, or is it something you're really interested in? Basically tell if someone is lying to you. And if you do that in a video, paid or not really, if you do that in a video, then it's just going to come across the wrong way. It's going to backfire on you eventually when people realize that you're just contradicting yourself all the time.
Yeah, and like Jane said, brush up on your FTC guidelines because you don't want to get in any legal
no matter
waters.
which platform it is.
As someone who works in the legal field, you can get sued.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to be referencing my phone because I have quite a bit to say on this
Kristen's
topic. So I have done a bunch of paid promotions, and I I think it's great that people like us have been able to forge relationships with publishers and with media companies that have presented us with these opportunities. I do have mixed feelings about how it's really only BookTube that does sponsored videos, because bloggers have been doing so much work for so long and they always seem to get the short end of the stick. And then Bookstagram also seems to do most things not sponsored, with the exception of a couple of companies that put on like tours. But then even still, the people who are actually on the tour are not making the money. It's the people who are organizing the tour. So I definitely don't see any issue with doing sponsored content, but I think that you need to be mindful about your choices and what you choose to support. Actually, one thing that just came to mind is there were a couple of people that did a sponsorship for a company that was like offering help, I think, on like a hotline if you had any type of mental health issues.
like BetterHelp or something.
Yeah. And then it like turned out that the people that were on the like answering side weren't actually like qualified to be answering those questions.
Wow.
So you just don't want to ever put yourself in a position where you're supporting something without like fully looking into it. And again, I think you need to be like excited about what it is that you're talking about. Like for instance, just in the past week alone, I turned down 2 paid promotion opportunities because I wasn't interested in what it was that they were offering for me to do, and I just said like, thank you, I really appreciate the opportunity, but I can't fully support this because either I didn't like the author's past books or for whatever reason. And I think that the company also appreciates that too, like knowing that when they do work with you, it will be a more genuine campaign. And yes, again, with the FTC regulations, I also agree that you have to be so clear, and you really do have to like make sure that you state everything so that the person knows that this is sponsored. I cannot stand when people say that they're working with someone or like whatever.
Like coded language.
Yeah, because it's not clear to everyone, and there definitely are people that are watching where English isn't their first language, so they won't pick that up, that it's not a genuine thing that you are like interested in.
And it makes you look a little sketchy.
I was gonna say, like,
why
the
can't
more
you just
you
be
say
honest
it-
and say like, this is a paid promotion, or like in whatever? Because when it say that you're working with someone, it makes it seem like, oh, we like cooperated on this,
Yeah.
we both
Yeah.
contributed, it was a joint effort, when really you're being paid to put this book in your book haul, like, or something like that. You know, it's like, don't make it look like you are on the marketing team. For this book, you know, like
And it can be extra insidious when a portion of your audience is maybe younger and more impressionable, I think, too.
I told the other girls before, but there was another paid promotion that I had done in the past where the company actually asked me not to disclose that it was a paid promotion, and I said absolutely not. Like, it's a law that I have to do that. And I said, if you don't want to do the promotion, that's totally fine, but if we are, I am definitely going to be saying it in my video. As a person like who is accepting the promotion, you shouldn't feel guilty about having to like push back certain times, because you have your own responsibility to your viewers. You're representing yourself, and it's very easy to get enchanted by like, oh wow, they're offering me like money to do this, but in the long run, it's not worth it.
I don't know. It's always difficult to talk about that when it comes to blogging, though. Because usually the language is also pretty much the same. Like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, they're sponsoring this giveaway, or they're... Which sponsoring this giveaway is fine. I like it when they include the actual language that you should use.
Yes,
because that
me
makes
too.
it so much easier. Me too. But I also feel like it's another thing where you should say it right at the start. Like, unlike it's the same with a video, I think. I wouldn't put it at the end that I'm like, this video was paid promotion with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Same thing with blog posts, same thing with Instagram. Like, put it right at the beginning. Like, I know it kind of looks weird at first, I guess, maybe if you're not used to it, but having it at the top is a lot better than having it like randomly show up and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah.
So no surprises, basically.
One thing that I also have to say, which actually isn't necessarily like a publisher paid promotion, but one of my personal YouTube pet peeves is when people put so many ad breaks in their videos.
I'm not
like, I just can't. If it's a longer video, I understand that you maybe want to make more from having like an extra ad in there, but I personally, once I have watched those 5 seconds and I can skip, I feel like I've done my time. And if you're gonna add more ads in, I'm like probably not gonna watch your videos anymore, because I'm usually cooking or like doing something, and if I have to like stop what I'm doing to like clean my hands so that I can skip the next ad, it just bothers me to no end.
Right.
Some people put a lot. Like, they're like 3 or 4, and I'm like, this is extensive for like a 30-minute video. This is a lot.
It's too much. And it's not even like you make so much money from it that I think that it's worth it to alienate your audience. What I make on YouTube in a year is like less than I make in one paycheck at my full-time
Right,
job.
right.
So it's not like by adding that extra ad in, I'm gonna be like
You're
making
gonna
so
be like
much
20 cents
money.
richer.
Yeah, like it's just not worth it to me. Okay, and then another thing, which I feel like this year has been a lot better, like media companies have gotten smarter, but one of the other things is I hate when every single person is promoting the same book, and there's like one day that comes and then you've got like 10 videos
Yes.
all
Yeah,
about
I
the
don't
same
get
book.
that.
I think it makes more sense to divide up the promotions between different people so that you're seeing different people talk about things. It's not everyone. Like if I see too many of them, I end up just skipping because I'm like, I just know like what this is already and I don't think you're going to add anything to the conversation.
This is something, like maybe this is me being a very cynical person, but if I see like too many sponsored videos in my feed at the same time about the same book, I'm not gonna read that book. It sometimes
I
will like
understand that.
put a bad taste in my mouth, especially if the sponsored videos seem a little disingenuous,
Forced, yes.
a little forced. And I'll be like, are any of you gonna read that book? I don't know. I don't know. And so then it kind of is like a little off-putting for me. It's like, why are you trying to force this book down my throat? Like I think what you said, like stagger it, or maybe not do like 20 people, just a handful of people, and then use bloggers or bookstagrammers so that you're diversifying your platforms.
I do also think it's interesting what people read that they are paid to promote sometimes.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I love, like, I always find it interesting if it's been like 3 or 4 months and they still haven't touched it. And then they put it in an unhaul.
Yeah.
That's always really interesting.
That's telling.
Like,
That's very telling.
because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about you right now because why would you do that? Why would you film
Yeah.
a video, be excited about it, and then be like, okay, I'm not reading it. Bye.
Yeah, it's weird. There's an aspect of it too where like podcasts will have ads before talking about things and it's clearly an ad. So sometimes I feel that way with like news videos. I'm like, would I mind just doing like a straight up ad before a news video, like talking about something?
yeah.
And I go kind of back and forth on it, but so far I think I've been good about picking ones that I am truly excited for. Like recent ones were like Little White Lies, and I read that
You read
during
that
that
fast.
month that I like got it. I was so excited for that one. Oh, you know what? I did one for Undying, and I haven't read that yet, but I am
You
definitely
are going to read that
to.
one, though.
Especially because that was only a duology, and I love being able to like
Duology.
finish a series.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Oh, and Last Life of Prince Alistair. too.
That's what it
That's
was.
what it
Okay.
was.
I was like, I was trying to remember. I know you said one.
Which I
you're
think-
also going to read.
But I
I'm
knew you were
definitely
excited
reading.
about that one.
I am really excited.
I remember at Book Expo you being like, I want to get that art.
Yeah. But I think I want to read it in October
Halloween.
because it makes more sense.
Yeah,
like, during
I
that
agree.
month.
February is a weird month for that book to come out. I'm not gonna lie. Valentine's Day too. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
Read The Room.
this is not the right month for that.
I think I'm finally done.
Thanks for coming to Kristen's TED Talk.
I wrote thanks for listening to my TED Talk in my notes.
True friendship.
Do you think BookTube is dying?
No. In fact, it's probably growing even more. I feel like I'm always seeing new people pop up on my like recommended feed. I don't know. I think it's because I watch like a very mixed variety of booktubers. Like I don't just watch the YA ones. There's plenty of those, yes. But the ones I watch tend to be very diverse. Like some of the ones I watch, I don't even read any of them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like the adult literary ones, it's very rare for me to read anything, but sometimes I just really like the person. Yeah, I don't think in any way that BookTube is not growing or it's gonna die anytime soon. I think it's finally sort of finding its footing, I guess I want to say, like in a different way than when it was like the big new thing. Like it's finding a more stable foundation now. It's also spread to the point where like every genre, every kind of book pretty much has its own thing. Like you can find it if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
Is what I say to everyone who's like, I don't think they'll talk about that. I'm like, listen, just
Yeah.
look
Keep
for it.
looking.
There are people there, I swear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, like I actually think it's growing.
Yeah.
Especially as people are also diversifying their content. I think it's gonna keep growing. I think the way that the community is now, with how encouraging it can be and how inclusive it can be, it's very encouraging to anyone who wants to try it. It also helps that a lot of the people who might have started watching as teens feel more confident about doing it as adults.
Yeah.
Or they feel more ready to do it or step into it. So like they'll join in and they'll probably have a better handle of it too than the rest of us who started without any knowledge whatsoever.
I agree. I also think that it's definitely not dying because there are new people popping up constantly, but I also think that it is evolving in a sense.
Yeah, that's the right word for it.
And part of it is that viewers have to realize that the people who like pioneered BookTube are all just like normal flawed humans like everyone else, and it's totally reasonable for people's tastes to change,
Yes.
or for them to, you know, fall out of reading or in different like times of their life. And I think it's great that people are diversifying content and being able to show like more of their personalities outside of just reading. Even though I personally tend to like the book focused channels best.
Me too.
But
With like a little bit of on the side.
yeah, same. I think it's a good thing. And I think it's good that we're getting new faces.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think BookTube is dying. I think BookTube is changing, and perhaps old BookTube is dying as it
Yeah,
was.
that's a
And I
good way to
think,
put it.
as with any changes, like there are going to be people who are going to adapt, and there are going to be people who don't adapt and kind of get left behind. And so that's what I think is happening, that it's changing, but dying, definitely not.
That was some like Darwin shit, just not. Sorry.
Yeah.
Such an intelligent way to put it.
It's like evolution. Get with it or like get left behind.
Survival of the bookish.
Yeah.
But the great thing too is that it's like up to the viewers, up to you guys to
Yeah.
decide what channels you're giving your
Yeah.
views to
Yeah.
and who you're investing your time in. So it's kind of like a codependent relationship.
I don't have much to add to that. I agree. I don't think that BookTube is dying. I think it's thriving. I think it's definitely changing. I'm excited that there are so many, like constantly so many new BookTubers with different perspectives. I think the best thing that could happen to this community is for it to be as wide and diverse as possible and have as many different perspectives and BookTubers from other countries. It's definitely like a US heavy community.
US and UK, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
but I love watching booktubers from other countries and learning about like what books and publication is like in their countries and what stories are being told there. I agree with what you said. I think that, like the old guard, so to speak, no longer has the monopoly.
Agreed.
In that, like, I think we're getting to a point where more people are having more of a voice, and I think that's really exciting. I think there are a lot of like newer booktubers that I'm really excited to watch and see their content and what they contribute to the community. I don't think booktube is dying out anytime soon.
And I think hopefully with those changes, what I hope to see is like more voices from people of color and
Yes.
other marginalized booktubers. I'm hoping that
Absolutely.
the change that we're going through right now can be a really positive one that uplifts more voices in the long run.
A change we can believe in, if you will.
So the last one is to tag friends, but my friends are here.
I know, I was
Do you
about to be
guys
like,
have
all of the
anyone
people
that
I
you
would
want
have
to
tagged are like right here.
I think my only friend that isn't here is Chelsea.
Yeah.
Uh,
Chelsea.
oh,
Actually, I would like to see Heather too from Bookables.
Yes,
She's been in the
yes.
community for a long time.
Yeah.
We should get Mel to do it.
Melanie.
Melanie from
should go to the
Meltotheany.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
And I would also love to see Emily from Possibly Literate do this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would also, I'm going to tag Alexa from Library of Alexa, my new friend. I tag you, girl.
Now you have to be friends.
Yeah.
I know, I just started following her. The
Me
other
too.
day.
She's
Because you texted me about her.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
incredible.
I know, I watch her later.
She lives in Atlanta.
And I have,
so
like-
I'm a one person.
It's
This is a
funny to
funny
me
thing.
commenting
Yeah, I
on her
saw her
videos
in
though,
your
because it's
blog.
like, Alexa, Alexa.
She's amazing.
Well, it's funny because, like, obviously, Alexa is a somewhat, not common name, but, like,
It isn't, but for some reason.
but for some reason, I have
was
multiple
like-
Alexas now, so I refer to them as, like, Alexa, loves books, and Alexa, library of.
Yeah.
Instagram also has a lot. Someone has
Yeah.
a very similar handle to mine, and I'm like, okay.
That is it for this video. Hopefully you guys found it interesting to hear all of our different perspectives on these questions. These are our opinions and they're not meant to put anyone down in any way
Oh,
or
absolutely.
be negative or whatever, but they're just our opinions. So
Yeah.
that's it. So that's all that we have for this video. We're also doing collab videos on some other channels, so you can look for those too. And we'll see you guys soon in a new video. Bye.
Bye.